To the podcast, hablemos de lo nuevo. For the G's, by the G's, que pasa en el terreno. Vienen jugadores y se van, traiga lo nuevo. A huevo. Doesn't matter where you from. Salvador, Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua. Todo mi latino, come and listen for an hour. TikTok, que traemos lo que quiere. Todo lo que pasa dentro y fuera de las redes. Really? You don't know what it is. Reportamos con la lupa what we see at the digs. En las buenas y en las malas yo diré la verdad. Si cometen un error o tienen habilidad, la calidad del rival cuando viene a jugar. Facts. Yo no me muerdo la lengua. Got love for the crest in the city I came from. Los campeones de campeones y con copas mi race. No empezamos, empurgamos. Soy la voz de LA One. Soy la voz de LA One. Love. Yeah.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana. Thank you so much for being with us here, all you LA Galaxy fans and all you Lacuna Galaxians. We do appreciate it. We have a good show for you guys today. We have a special guest that has been on the show before, was a lot of fun, and he's going to bring us everything you need to know about the Galaxy's next opponent, because today we're going to be previewing the Galaxy's upcoming away match against St. Louis City on Sunday, September 1st, a match that will see them take the field without their star midfielder, Ricky Puig, as they look to make it 4 wins in a row for the second time this season and keep first place in the West. And like I mentioned, our special guest today to help us get into that preview is Mo Seca of Mo Football St. Louis. We'll get to him in a little bit. But before we do, I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Halon. You can find my written work at Extra Time Talk, and you can find me online at El Escudero de LA. And of course, my co-host is here as well, Ananda Kirana, El Yerno Guapo, El Gitano Perdido. Say what up to the peoples, man.
What up, people, and what up, chat? It's good to be back, and it's good to be back when the Galaxy are rolling like this, obviously. Looking forward to another dub. That would be 4 in a row, Rob, for Mr. Greg Vanney. And yeah, the proof is in the pudding, right? He's breaking all the ducks, getting all those consecutive win streaks, those 3-game win streaks that did not exist before this year. He is breaking those this year for sure. But yeah, excited to talk to Mo, have him back on the show. I haven't watched a lot of St. Louis lately, so this is going to be a good primer for me. I'm excited for him to kind of tell us. There's been a lot of moving and shaking with that club, personnel-wise, etc. So yeah, it'll be interesting to talk to him about what is going on there. But yeah, man, just excited to be back talking LA Galaxy football with you as always, bro.
Yeah, no, and it's an exciting time. I mean, this time last year, we were like doing all these permutations and maths and seeing like, will the Galaxy make the playoffs? And around this time last year, they still had a shot, albeit outside shot. And fast forward a year, and now we're talking about the LA Galaxy in first place and, you know, them perhaps making the Champions League next year. So what a difference a year makes. God bless the passage of time and the ability to go ahead and make amends, man. You know what, guys? I got to say, because he's not going to say it himself, this man, Ananda, worked really hard on this Los GATACTICOS video with El Profe Alex RUIZ. And you know what? These are fine videos, man. And not only did they call Gabriel Pecchi going off like he did, but a lot of the stuff that you're going to see out of Marco Reus and the way Greg Vanney is going to use him is stuff that these cats have covered in the second Los GATACTICOS video. So do y'all self a favor. Go ahead and catch this video. The perfect signing is Marco Reus, the perfect signing for the LA Galaxy. A lot of people were saying that, you know what, they needed a striker, or they needed a new defender, or maybe even a defensive midfielder. Is Marco Reus the perfect signing? Guys, find out in the second video of Los GATACTICOS. And Ananda, before I go any further, I mean, you should get into your housekeeping too, man.
Yep, housekeeping. So you guys can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Ananda
Look them up.
Galaxiana. And of course, you guys can always find us on all of our socials at La Cuna Galaxiana. We are there, guys. Go ahead and interact with us as well. If you are here for the first time, welcome. And if you're back in the chat, we missed y'all, and we can't wait to. You guys were on fire last time, so I'm excited to talk to you guys again. That was Vibes FC on Monday. That was a fun show, man. Super fun show. So glad you're all back or with us. And if you like what you're listening to, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just a click of a button, right? Go ahead and click that subscribe and make sure you smash up all the likes so that that's honestly the best way you can support this channel right now. But more to come on that. We will make some sort of little announcement in terms of how else you could support the channel in the near future here. And of course, as Rob always says, you can go ahead and share this with someone that's looking for content, your fellow Galaxy fans, your fellow familia, your vecinos, whoever. We really appreciate, by the way, really appreciate you guys just spreading the word out there, and that's always what do they always say, Rob? Best marketing is always word of mouth, especially from someone you trust. So
Yeah,
that's like that's how people find out about cool stuff. So really appreciate you guys for doing that.
Or when like the homie's like, hey dog, like I'm gonna let you know about this X thing, so yeah, man. I mean, we appreciate you guys getting the word out there. Like I mentioned last show, we did break 250 subs, and that's not without your guys' help. I think it's like 256 or something like that. So thank you so much. Big hearts and love to you guys for doing what y'all doing, for being in here with us in the chat. It's Chris. No, I am not drinking a Bud Light.
He's got the glow. He's got the Galapagos glow, guys. There you go. He's got the Galapagos glow.
I'm just sun kissed, man. I don't really like beer. It's Chris. That's not really my drink. Hector Ramos, Big Heck, what's up? This is La Patria Madre Jersey Gitano. There we go, Papa. Right. Yeah, man. Big shout out to all y'all. Like Ananda said, you guys were on fire. Thank you guys for being back with us.
Pero Roberto, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, ¿no?
Yay.
Buenos días, tardes o noches, y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de La Cuna Galaxiana. Now we can go into our shout outs, and we will bring Mo with you guys in a few minutes here. So get into the shout outs, Papa.
Yeah, we're gonna get through them quick because St. Louis is like basically a new team, so we have a lot to talk about with Mo. And so anyway, we're gonna go through them real quick. The first one is really important, guys. Y'all know them, y'all love them. AFJA, they're doing a collab with the LA Galaxy for Central American Heritage Night on September 21st. That's going to be versus Vancouver. Pick up your tickets at lagalaxy.com/AFJA. When you do, a donation to their cost for youth programs gets made. Plus, you receive an LA Galaxy and Central American Heritage coffee mug. So, cuando estás tomando tu cafecito, puedes ponerte en el mugcito nuevo. There you go, guys. I mean, you're helping out AFJA, Pupusas with the Purpose, and you're doing good on yourself as well because you get a mug. So go ahead and support AFJA. Speaking of AFJA, they were there for Dodgers Salvadoran Heritage Night, just like they were for the Angels version. Mauricio Cienfuegos, ex-Galaxy legend, threw out the first pitch. Man, it was awesome to see all the Salvadorian Galaxy G's out there, repping, and Salvadorians repping in general. That they took over Dodger Stadium, man. It was great. I bet really good pupusas were had. I wish I had been there. It looks like it was a lot of fun, man. So good form by Mauricio Cienfuegos here. Just like he used to serve him up on the pitch, he's throwing them on the diamond. There you go. And then other former G news, former LA Galaxy midfielder and current Inter Miami owner David Beckham is one of the 21 semifinalists being considered for inclusion in the National Soccer Hall of Fame. The class of 2025 will be inducted on May 3rd, 2025. Right now, there's 21 semifinalists. That'll be cut down to 10. And who knows? David Beckham might be in the National Soccer Hall of Fame pretty soon. That'd be great, man. Hopefully, they do something here in Los Angeles for him, and we get to cover it, and that'll be a lot of fun.
He holds a special place, man. He was my gateway to the Galaxy, being a Real Madrid fan and all. So he holds a special place for sure. That's why he is right there on my wall. Shout out Godino Art, by the way. Fire.
Did you say he was your gateway drug?
No, he was my gateway to the club. He was my gateway to the Galaxy.
I was like, I don't know if I heard that right. Well, keeping with former G's,
Maybe you are drinking.
to
Maybe you are drinking Bud Lights. Maybe you are drinking Bud Lights, Baba. Who knows? Anyways,
yeah,
we'll keep it moving.
I'm lying to you all. I am drinking Bud Lights. Woo! Anyway, congratulations to Julian Araujo. He made his first Premier League start the other day for Bournemouth. Up the cherries, and I mean, I've always said I've been a cherry since birth, man. Yeah, all day I've been a cherry. Go Julian. May he continue killing it in the Premier League. The Galaxy, guys, is launching their annual Kick Childhood Cancer Out Now t-shirt. Proceeds from jersey sales will be donated to the Children's Oncology Group to fund childhood cancer research. I love the fact that all of the jerseys are blue, white, and gold, like across the league. So even rivals of the Galaxy have blue, white, and gold on their jersey now. So always repping pop. Got to do it. So our very own unbreakable one, JP Joseph Painso, has been called up by Ghana to the 2025 AFCON qualifiers on September 5th and 9th against Niger and Angola. Congratulations to Joseph Painso. You guys will remember that he was kind of like a Ghana regular, and he got injured, stuff like that, and he hasn't really been in the squad, but he has been called back. That last match on the 9th of September is one to watch because the El Tráfico, the last one of the season at the Digs, is happening on 9/14. Right. From what I'm reading, that's like a full day trip, Ananda. So if that game is on the 9th, he probably won't leave till like the 10th, probably won't get into Los Angeles until like the 11th, maybe not training until the 12th. So it's going to be cutting it close for JP for El Tráfico, but if anybody could do it, he can do it.
I mean, have him play the 5th. I'm looking at that forwards list. Jeez, man, like they've got some ballers on their team. Antoine Semenyo from Bournemouth, who we just talked about, Iñaki Williams, the older brother of Nico Williams. They're both on Bilbao. I mean, they've got some fire players on that team. So go ahead and sit him, coach. Sit him for the 9th. Let him come back healthy for El Tráfico. We need him.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, coach. Well, keeping with call-ups for Galaxy players, LA Galaxy Academy defender Enrique Quique Martinez has been called up to the US U17 men's youth national team for the Václav Jesek tournament in the Czech Republic from August 30th to September 9th. Congratulations, Quique. Go out there and kill it. Represent LA, baby. And then we get to one of these rumors that just popped up. Transfer rumors, of course. Guys, I know you guys like a little bit of chismecitos, so here it is. Our good friend, Profe Alex Ruiz, today broke some news that Gaston Brugman, his head had been turned by Oviedo, his former club. He says in his tweet, I'm hearing Brugman. He starts with reports from Spain coming out that Gaston Brugman has reached out to his former club, Real Oviedo, that he's interested in returning. His contract is up at the end of the 2025 season. Brugman is a fan favorite for Oviedo fans. The Euro transfer window closes on August 31st. And then Alex subtweets himself. He says, I'm hearing Brugman is not going to move this window. Oviedo won't be looking to bring him in during this transfer window. However, don't be surprised to see this rumor pop up again later down the line. To which Gaston personally had to come out and say, hey, no es verdad. This is not true. And you know what?
Source?
And no, but here's the thing. The thing is there's that saying in Spanish where there's smoke, there's fire, right? And so and there's also the one cuando hay piedras en el río, el agua se unirá, or something like that, man. So I mean, Gaston said it's not true. Maybe it's not true here in the moment, but I mean, Gaston's a fan favorite here. He was a fan favorite in Oviedo. It's only natural that they're going to want him back. Watch the space. We'll let you know how this develops. For the moment, it looks like he's committing himself to the Galaxy. He says this is not true. Things change so quick in the football world.
For now, it's not true, but yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Let's
anyway, well,
watch the space.
Yep. Watch the space and check out keep watching El Profe Alex Ruiz's socials as well and tweets as well. Who knows? Maybe we'll start getting a dialogue between Profe and Gaston. That would be fun. So anyway, keeping it moving. That was a transfer rumor, but something that we know for sure that went down the other day. The Galaxy acquired FC Cincinnati's natural first-round pick in the 2025 MLS Super Draft and $50K in GAM in exchange for the right of first refusal for defender Teenage Hadebi. And then the Podfather, per Corner of the Galaxy, he reminds us that the LA Galaxy selected Teenage Hadebi in the second stage of the re-entry draft at the end of last season. They then made a genuine offer, which granted them the rights of first refusal. More on that, I expect that the Galaxy are going to do something good with these assets. Like anytime that Will Kuntz has gotten some kind of assets, he's done a good job. I mean, and
done miracles.
He done miracles on us.
Yeah.
Look at who he drafted in the third round of last year's draft. One young man named Tucker Lepley, who, to be sure, hasn't really gotten a lot of first team minutes, but everyone who's seen him play can tell that there's something there. And I expect him to be a contributor to this team at some point.
Yep.
He was a third round pick. Now, I expect this man, Will Kuntz, and his team to keep on doing miracles on us with a first round pick. Who knows? Maybe they're going to unearth the gem, and that's just another asset that the Galaxy have, So
another AJ, another Omar, who knows, right?
Hey, who knows? And hey, I didn't know that you were alumni
Maryland?
with
AJ?
I didn't know that, man. Yeah, that's really cool. Well, with both of them actually, with De La Garza
right.
and with
Yep.
Yeah, man, that's really cool.
Their last year was 2008, and I started school in 2010, so I didn't get a chance to watch them. But yeah, for sure, we got that connection. So good stuff.
You should walk up to them and be like, "Hey, what's up?"
I said what's up to AJ, and we vibed on the Maryland thing, so that was cool.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really have that with anybody because not a lot of professional soccer players went to San Francisco State. So anyway,
but the best journalists go to San Francisco State. I heard.
Hey, what up? All right. Well, you know what? We brought you that Corner of the Galaxy Podfather fact. Keeping with that, and keeping with just what a difference a year makes from earlier. Man, what a difference the year makes in DPs, right? Because according to the Podfather, with another assist from Joseph Paintsill, the Galaxy would be just the third team in the last decade to have three players with 10 plus assists in a season. Only one team in MLS history had three players with at least 10 goals and 10 assists. That's the 98 Galaxy, with Cien with 13 and 16, Kobe Jones with 19 and 13, and Velton with 17 and 11. So Joseph Paintsill gets an assist. Galaxy making more history, making more strides, making more progress. You love to see it. Give that man his flowers. I won't keep saying it. I ain't scared of y'all. So anyway, and that's Bernie Mac shout out. I just had him on my mind recently, but Bernie, rest in peace. Anyway, guys, there is a match this weekend that's happening on Sunday. It's happening early, so I don't know where you're watching it. Maybe in your bed in your PJs, but there are Galaxy watch parties happening this weekend. Lars is going to be at Hennessy's Tavern in Hermosa Beach. Absolution Brew is going down as well. They're having their watch party, their normal watch party for away matches. Of course, that's in Torrance, guys. And then the Vanta Black Ultras are going to be at 91 Bar and Grill on Fig in Los Angeles. So make sure to get out there to a watch party. If you are not going to be in bed in your PJs, go get some brunch. Hang out with some Galaxy fans. Raul G said, trap game, Rob. Ooh.
We'll get there, Raul. We'll get there.
And we're basically here. Gary G Cam says the Bernie Mac show is one of the most underrated shows of all time. Agreed. Bernie Mac is one of the most underrated comedians of all time.
Yeah.
Again, been on my mind, been watching a lot of Bernie and Patrice O'Neal stand up recently. Brilliant comedians. Speaking of brilliance, let's get our guest, baby. Let's get our guest on. You know what? He was here before, and we had a lot of fun. And he's doing this the honor of staying up late and being here with us because he is on Central Time, so he's 2 hours ahead of us, guys. So right now it's 11:30 for him. So man, just give it up for this man. Here to tell us more about just how much has changed in St. Louis is Musa Mosek, a friend of the show and a host of the Mo Football Podcast. Welcome back, Mo. Thank you so much for staying up with us and you know telling us about the state of St. Louis. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's not that late. It's normal stuff, but
For you're night owl, man. So we got you. Yeah.
and I was laughing because you guys said, in PJs at 11 o'clock your time. I don't know.
Oh man,
it's a
you
Sunday.
don't even know the weekend, man.
People get out on a Saturday night. Yeah.
Must be nice.
Exactly. When you hit La Cita on Saturday night and you dance the night away, then Sunday morning comes at you quick. So
If you know, you know, right, Rob?
if you know, right? But Mo, when you come out to Los Angeles,
man.
we're taking you to La Cita and we're gonna have a good time. But
All right.
anyway, man, before we get into this match, I'm gonna bounce with you really quick, and I really have no room to bounce with you because
You don't.
my club Manchester United is not great either. But what the blood is going on at Chelsea, mate? Like
we want to know, bro, because we have no idea what's going on. I don't know
how
if you
many
do,
dressing rooms are there? Like who is even on the squad? Like
So where do you want to start?
I swear they're just
is the
throwing on
question.
random people right now.
The question is, where do you want to start?
Man, well, first off, does Maresca last a season?
Yes, he'll have more
Hey,
than one season.
Okay.
Okay,
That's a start.
Yes.
that is a start. Like let's build with somebody. Do you agree with with these homegrowns and with these long serving players getting cast aside like that? Gallagher, Chaloba, and then like fan favorites like Sterling. Like are you feeling what's going down with them, or are you kind of like they need to reassess?
I think for me the biggest disappointment is the treatment of Chalobah. The one he's literally a Chelsea homegrown, from day
Right.
one. And as you can tell, he's just his character where he's not screaming, he's not kicking. They told him, go away. You're not with part of the team. He's still practicing. When they're talking about
Professional.
Chelsea, he's literally saying every single thing. And now they're saying there's possibilities of him actually coming back because of other defenders not doing so great. So he's like the perfect example of like a professional. And when you say you sweat for the badge, that's his picture that you should literally put up there.
Hey, El Escudero de Chelsea.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you got to blame the UK government for the mess that Chelsea is in, right? They took over the club and they said, hey, we want the craziest people to own the club, which is these guys.
Todd Bowley's a nut, man. He's like,
hey,
Yeah.
let's
it's
assign
a hedge
everybody.
fund, right? It's a hedge funds. They said, they just put two guys facing, but we all know there's like dozens of people behind that are writing checks. So,
Right.
and they kind of took away the culture, some of, of like owners that actually love a club where they put their money up front. So they're a little bit more, there's a sense to it. As you can see now, these days, soccer is more business-like.
Yeah.
So it's, instead of having one billionaire that says, I love soccer, I'm go out, but I want to win. So I'm going to put my money up front to do it, like Abramovich did. But now you have hedge funds, and they know that soccer is literally the most popular sport, and you will make money no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, MLS is a prime example. I mean, you have San Diego that is valued at more than legacy clubs like Newcastle United, and it's absolutely nuts the money that's
San
in the
Diego is
game.
different almost though.
Because it's an expansion.
It's a
club,
franchise,
right?
Yeah, it's a franchise.
Yeah.
But also the way I see them built when they have the Dream Academy and all that. I think just seeing how they are structured and the people that are running it, they will put to shame a lot of new clubs that come in the MLS because they're not starting from scratch. They can literally just take a whole bunch of country players from, Egypt, Ghana, and all that. And says, hey, here's our team for the MLS.
Right.
And they don't even have to buy them. So
Mm.
I think it's
And-
just that
and-
culture of that.
And they're building great infrastructure. But Mo, I want to ask you, Ananda's got the Spain national team shirt on, right? France played against
Sorry.
France played against Spain
That was
in the Euro
Cracker
final.
of a game. Cracker
What
of a game.
what was that tournament like for you? I'm sure France did really well, so they got to the final.
Yeah.
So you felt okay.
It was an up and down thing, right? At the beginning, it was like, oh, we can't even score. It was a penalty. It was on goal. So you're like, oh, what's going to happen? I was happy with the defense, of course, because no one scores against you, so you're good. But there was still that little fear. It's like the moment you find someone that's a little bit more creative, aka Yamal, and then they just run you over because he was just, he just had that little spark that France did not have. That's what we pretty much lost to him. So it was one of those things where we kind of lost a little bit of our essence of France when you had Pogba. The happiness that you saw players in the midfield. We didn't have that at the moment because we were too defensive. So Didier Deschamps,
So-
he's a defender, so he wanted a solid defense and then maybe score. That was
there's not that expression. There's not that like creativity and like
yes.
Je ne sais quoi, So,
Wow,
like,
je ne sais quoi.
that unpredictability, like
I mean,
anything can happen, right?
The real reason, Mo, is I think Adrian Rabiot opened his mouth. He should have shut his mouth, man. That was the reason why you guys lost. No, I'm playing, obviously.
No,
but
he does. He did that.
I mean,
from
he
the very
just
beginning.
got to learn to pipe down a little bit because the memes were going off the day after with the baby and Rabiot's Rabiot's.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
It was class, but
He took a shellacking.
he deserved it. I mean, karma is a you know what. So there you go.
Well,
Our-
so that final happens.
Mhm.
Then France makes the final at the Olympics, right?
Mm.
And that's a loss as well. And then the result of that is Titi Henry resigning from the French national. First off, do you think he should have resigned? And then second, what do you think? What do you think he'll do now?
I think he was just a one and done. I think he was like almost the natural coach because there was almost no one else of like this kind of the stature. Because the only person that's left for a national coach is Zidane, but he's only looking for one job. That's why he has not taken any other jobs. Because
The big job.
Yes, he wants the first. And there's only one other job he will take is Real Madrid. So he only has two. The other coaches were not so much to it, but Thierry Henry is like everybody's looking up to him. Those kids that are playing now looking up to him. So he was just a natural coach pretty much for it. Just one tournament.
Well, I'm really curious to see what he'll do now. I mean, there was before Pochettino got hired as U.S. national team coach. There was a spark of a rumor that Titi Henry was in the running, and that would have been really interesting. I like the guy personally, but a lot of people were saying like, no, don't take him off the airwaves. I mean, he's great on TV with Kay and Jamie and stuff like that, and Micah. So, you know what? I guess it all worked out in the best for everybody. Mo, sorry to keep piling on. We spoke about two finals for France, but then now we got to get into this MLS game, man.
Yes.
And things have not been going great for St. Louis.
Prior
after
to the League's Cup.
26 games played.
Right.
Yes. Prior to the League's Cup, things are on a slight uptick. But in the league, after 26 games played, 13th place, 24 points, 0.92 points per game, 4-10 and 12 record, negative 14 goal difference. But then, like you guys just mentioned, League's Cup happens, make the round of 16, beat Portland 3-1 in the round of 32, and put up a fight against Scuba Medica, coincidentally at the Digs on August 13th. The last MLS match for St. Louis was a Portland tie 4-4 on the road, which really should have been a win for them. Winless in the last 5 MLS games, 15 goals conceded in those matches. They've only won once in the last 15 MLS games. All 4 of the wins have come at home. 10 points right now below the playoff line. Mo, after a strong showing in the League's Cup, is it too little, too late right now for St. Louis? 10 points below the playoff line. Is there a shot, or are you guys looking towards next year right now?
Well, the math says it's not impossible.
Sounded like us last year, right? I was like, oh, it's still possible. The math is still so funny.
There's still like a 0.3% chance. Yeah, no,
Hey, who would have thought that Argentina was going to win the World Cup after they lost to Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, that's
right. There's still 27 points left on the table.
Yeah.
So anything is possible, and the team has changed so much and brought in so much new blood, and there's like just like a general vibe of newness around the team that, yes, Mo, you are right. Anything is possible. Mathematically, it's still possible. And yeah, I mean, this is football where you said we get to go and dream and become 5-year-olds again. Well, that's part of dreaming, right? Is anything is possible. On the flip side, the Galaxy, as everyone in MLS knows, because Galaxy fans are crowing about it right now, and rightly they should be. Through 27 matches, the Galaxy are in first place in the West, a 15-7-5 record. Vanny's best point total in his Galaxy tenure. Give the man his flowers. I ain't scared of y'all. 52 points. First place in the Western Conference standings, 5 points ahead of LAFC, 8 points ahead of RSL. LAFC has 3 games in hand, however, RSL with 1. And the Galaxy are second place in the Supporter Shield at the moment. Man, it's almost like night and day from where these teams were last year, man. Last year, St. Louis was on their way to winning the West. The Galaxy was pretty much in 13th place all year. What's been going on, man? Like what cost Bradley his job?
That's a very good question. I think probably what cost him his job was probably the ambition of the front office to still want to have a push for the playoffs. And I think, it's one of those things when it says when he rains, it pours. So that's what literally happened to City. Is like, have everybody's injured all of a sudden, and then Celio is injured, and then Klaus does not know how to score again, and then there's a lot of turmoil, fighting in the dressing room. So it's just like one hit after the other, and then you're starting to see where the biggest thing is the morale of a team, right? So when you're starting to see one thing going wrong, and then you see another one, and typically you see your best friends or your best teammates on the worst time of your season. And that's why you're starting to see that City has made a lot of transfer, because there was some, I guess, inner mingle or inner arguments, we'll call it, where things had to change for the best. Fortunately, we lost quite some of our players, but it just showed the ambition of the club itself, where they're like, we still have 13 games or so. Let's make a run at it. And they weren't scared to make changes, which, other teams will probably just sit there and wait for the end of the season to make changes. So I sort of have a little bit of that appreciation that says, our club is not afraid to make changes when things are not going our way.
Yeah, no, and I like that decisiveness. Like, hey, things, like you said, aren't going our way. Let's look to fix it. Let's do something about this. We'll get into that a little bit more later. This will be the 4th time these teams have played each other. There's never been a victor. All 3 of these games have ended in a tie. The first one was a 1-1. The second one was a 2-2, and the last one was a 3-3. So if you're sensing a trend, by statistics, this one should be ending up as a 4-4. But of course, again, football is unpredictable here. So in the last match this season, St. Louis almost steals all 3 points at the digs from the Galaxy, and big captain Maya Yoshida scores that stoppage time equalizing goal in the 95th minute to rescue a point for the Galaxy and keep them undefeated at home. And you know what, like the Galaxy have gone from strength to strength, like I mentioned at the top of the show, Mo. Last year, I think they won 3 total road matches. They've already smashed way past that. This year, they're 5-4-4 on the road. In their last 5 matches played on the road, they're 2-2-1, and they've posted 3 shutouts in that span. Dayon, he's a big question mark for us right now. How much of a role he'll have, how much he'll play, but he's been great on the road. He has 8 goal contributions. So Galaxy fans, if you are the praying type, pray that Dayon gets significant minutes and he starts getting reintegrated back into the team. But Mo, we did talk to you about the coaching change. Bradley Carnell was I'm only getting the word in Spanish right now. Despedido,
Departure.
Fired.
Yeah.
Fired. There we go. I hate when that happens to me. I can only remember the word in Spanish, and I'm sitting there like, so I don't know if that happens to you in French, Mo, but it's
all the time. Well, yeah. When I'm talking, also now I throw a few French words, and I'm like, "Oh, step."
Yeah, no, or you'll start talking to somebody who doesn't know the language you're speaking in the language. Like I'll speak to somebody in Spanish that doesn't know Spanish, or vice versa, and I was like, darn, my bad. Anyway, back on track. We spoke about Coach Bradley Carnell being fired on Monday, July 1st, and it's a shame because he had done really well in his first year, and a lot of people had said that he had overachieved, and that was kind of like what his curse was that he overachieved, and then the bar was set too high for season 2. Of course, guys, if you were following along, they won the West in 2023 with a mark of 17-12-3, and they become the first expansion team to win the regular the conference. Why do you think success was so hard to replicate? I mean, you've already spoken about kind of like the unrest in the locker room, but like in footballing terms, did much change? Did Carnell try to change philosophies or maybe playing styles or formation, or did he just not get the buy-in for the players like you were mentioning?
I think the first season it's a brand new toy, right? So all the coaches and all the experts don't really have that much to go by on a lot of those players, so you can't surprise everyone. Yes. Mm-hmm. And I think, and then then you have the all off season to start to study a team. So now you're starting to learn more of those tendencies of those coaches. And I think maybe for City, it was one of those things where maybe we may have not done as much tweaking that we wanted to do, and that it was pretty much the same players except a handful of players that came in. So I think it was probably more of they know your style now. And some of those coaches were, very seasoned. So, it just takes one season to find out who a player, what they're capable of and what they're not. And then you have the injuries where, at one time we had to take some of our CD2 guys on the bench.
I saw that.
Yes. And some of them, we didn't even have a full bench. So it's like, if it was Chelsea, they were like, all right, fine. We have another 22 players out there. We can just bring them in.
Only 22?
Well, 22 outside of the 11 and the 5 on the bench. Yeah. So, and I think it's also the whole MLS thing where they're now, when you have to do contracts with CD2 to bring up players, that also makes it very complicated. So I think it was just the perfect storm of injuries, teams finding out, and also teams improving big time, like LA Galaxy, right? So I think it was probably the first year City was doing great. All the OG teams were not doing so great, which kind of allows, the newer guys to kind of creep up until the likes of you guys go and start spending 8, 10, 15 million on one player.
Well, something that the homie zero cool. Chris Tucker out there in the Carolinas has tweeted a couple times. The Galaxy are always only one transfer window away from being contenders for MLS Cup. And like you said, they went out and spent, and they got the players to kind of make it possible. So Carnell gets fired as you know, for all the other Galaxy fans that getting you caught up on St. Louis. Carnell gets fired. He gets replaced by technical director John Hackworth, who had coached for the Union, and when he was in the USL with Louisville City, and he led them to the 2018 USL Championship. And he started well, Mo. He got his first win in his first game, 2-0 against San Jose. Of course, it is San Jose, so you know, take that with a grain of salt. But he followed that up with 3 straight losses and 10 goals conceded in those 3 games. However, he got a tie in his last match against SKC in the last match for the Leagues Cup. And of course, we did mention that he got the team to the round of 16 in the Leagues Cup. 1-3-2 record so far in MLS play for John Hackworth. Do you expect him to get the job full-time, Mo, or are there wheels in motion right now already in place to get a new head coach?
Who knows with Lutz? Who knows with Lutz what he's doing behind closed door? And you know, Hackworth though, it's not like he's going anywhere because he's the coaching director. So right now he's doing double duty at the moment. And I think he doesn't get enough credits, because even though he's like a coach and you did the whole union and stuff, but any players I think you will probably see for the past 20 years that has either touched the US national team or the youth national team, if you ask them about him, they will know him personally. And a lot of those city players like Makil Watts and Vasilev were literally players that were handpicked by him because he knew them. So I think he has like that vast experience. Being a coach, he has the experience. So I wouldn't be surprised if he had the job, but I don't know if he's willing to then take off his director of coaching, where
or work both.
less traveling, stay with your family, stay in one place. So, but it's Lutz. As you can see, he's not afraid to make some bold statements. So I'm just waiting to hear, hey, he's talking to such and such, which CD is pretty good at hiding this type of things.
Well, you did say you're just waiting to hear that he's talking to such and such. I mean, there's already been a lot of he's been talking to such and such, because there's been a St. Louis player carousel happening this year, and literally they brought in 5 or maybe even 6 new starters. I mean, it's completely new backline. The attack is almost completely remade. Let's these roster moves. I mean, there's a bunch, guys. So LA Galaxy fans, bear with me. This usually happens for the Galaxy in the off season, but St. Louis just did this in the past couple months in the transfer window. So the signed playmaker Marcel Hartel on a free, good business. Signed forward Cedric Tucher on a free, good business. Acquired center forward Simon Becher on loan. He's looked like the real deal. Acquired left back Jans Horn on loan, going to be a key contributor in the defense. Bought defensive mid Jake Goodwood Reich for a reported $850K. Traded center back Tim Parker, veteran on the team, and $600K in allocation cash for center back Henry Kessler. Traded attacking midfielder Eziel Jackson for up to $900K in allocation. Sold left back Nicholas Dyer for a reported $400K. Traded Big Sam Adeniran to the Union. I know you love Big Sam for up to $450K in allocation cash, and sold winger Isaac Jensen for an undisclosed fee. What's the best pickup here, Mo? Yeah, no, it's a lot of business. I mean, they were busy, but what for you? What's the best pickup here?
I'll probably say Hartel was, because so even though people were thinking that he was like fast trigger, but he had Hartel from the very beginning of the season, and the team that he was on actually wanted, I think, $500K or so, but he was, at the end of the season, he was not going to have any more contract. So he literally waited until his contract was up, and then signed him from there. And apparently, he had almost some dozen offers to stay in Germany and going across. So, and I think Columbus had his rights as well. So it was one of those business deals where, I guess we all say we in Lutz we trust, because
Yeah.
literally all of these names that he had, the players that he brought in were already players that he was trying to get from the very beginning.
Long-standing targets.
Yes.
Mhm.
And like Betcher, I think he tried to get him during the draft. So it was like, so he knew these guys that he already wanted. He was just waiting for that moment to bring him in. So they weren't just like, last minute transfers.
Mm-hmm.
So
They're not panic buys, basically.
oh no, no whatsoever.
They're like
all of these guys
well
were there.
thought out strategy and stuff like that. Like these were planned. No, that's good to know, because a lot of the times since there's been so many injuries, teams go, we just need to buy anybody. We need bodies, right? And so they get it wrong. But it sounds like your version of our Will Kuntz done miracles on us is in Lutz We Trust, because he did a lot of business here. So I asked you, which is the best piece of business that you think best pickup. Which one hurts the most? I mean, you lost Tim Parker, you lost Ezreal Jackson. Which one is the one that you're like, man, I wish we could have kept this player?
I don't know if I could. I don't think if I can pick a single one. And I think one of the reasons also is that a lot of them that you've named I also know personally. So I think it's also just the business part of it we understand, that have to do, but there's maybe a little bit more of the outside of it. But I think it was just, I think a lot of these transfers were more business oriented, even though there was, maybe a little bit of infighting it within the team. But I think these changes were mostly, we need this. This is what we're looking for. We understand these guys, have the future into it. Like Ezreal Jackson, that's why he had 900K with him, because, Nancy knows what he has. But we're on a dire need of that money and the cap and the place. So, it's one of those decisions where you're like, I wish on a better time we would not have sold him.
Yeah, I love me some Ezreal Jackson, man. That's my favorite player to watch. Every time we play St. Louis, man, he is the one guy, just a terrorizer. So I'm kind of glad he's not on your squad anymore. But I'm sure you have more terrorizers. I mean, obviously all those German players that you signed. By the way, we do like signing German players, don't we, Rob?
Yeah, I think we signed one recently. I can't remember his name. But yeah, it was some guy named, I think his name is Mark. Prince Royce. But now where did you say Ezreal Jackson went? Did you went to Columbus?
Yeah. So
the rich get richer, man.
Rich get richer. Yeah, exactly.
That's dirty. Okay, well, active window, grade sporting director Lutz's transfer window here.
Well, I think everybody was almost giving him all high praises on the business he's done. And if you look at the two midfielders forward that came in have all scored these past 3 games, which your RI is pretty much all came back already. So now you just see how they do during the regular season, which LA Galaxy gets to get a taste of it.
Yeah. Well, it's a good time for the LA Galaxy to come up against this new look team, because they're streaking as well. And speaking of that, Ananda, let's look at this form table here, and let's look at what these teams have done.
That's
the Galaxy.
ugly.
Yeah, all the W's on the top side. I mean, we don't need to narrate this, Rob. It just, I guess for the audio listeners, I mean, you've had, that surprises me a lot, Mo. You've had only one dub in the last, I can't even count that far back, like 15 games or so. I mean, that's That's not the St. Louis that we saw last year. And I mean, we've talked about the reasons why. And on the flip side, I mean, we have only lost 3 out of the last, I believe, 12 or maybe 13 now, kind of in the last game. Obviously, riding another 3-game win streak. And I don't know if you heard it on top of the show, Mo, when you were backstage, but I mean, this is new territory for Vanny. I mean, he's never had a 3-game win streak before this season, and now we're on our second, right? So third actually. So that's, I mean, that's just like we're in a different multiverse.
Give him his flowers. Sure. I ain't scared of y'all.
No agendas, right, Rob? No agendas.
Yeah. It's quite surprising the change of what one season can make.
Yeah,
and I guess
one transfer window. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I mean, it just it's a different culture. It's like you talked about, like, you know, maybe that culture has been lost a little bit there. You know, this culture here in the Los Angeles Galaxy dressing room front office is completely different. I mean, we say what a difference a year makes, what a difference an administration makes. I mean, even just in the way they deal with us media members is markedly different. Yes, Bud Light Rob is different. Let's go. Don't give me that hooch, man, for sure. But yeah, this game is happening at a good time for the Galaxy. I mean, they're full of confidence. Only the only like little blip for the Galaxy is Ricky Pooch being suspended for yellow card accumulation. So that's kind of good for you guys.
Good for you, yeah.
Yeah, good. You're like, all right, I like that. Emilio Garces also out, not available. He's still working his way back. Spoke to Greg about Dejan Joveljic yesterday in the presser, and I got to ask him about his involvement. And he was on the bench last game, and so I asked him, you know, like, why was he on the bench? We didn't see him. He said he never really wanted to use him against Atlanta. He just needed bodies on the bench because they didn't really have anybody. So he's gonna look to play Dejan for a role basically in this match, but probably won't start. He wants to get him back onto the field, but of course he's not going to be playing a full 90. He wants to integrate him slowly, and then also with the break coming up, you know, he wants a chance for him to get game time minutes and also get him healthier that way. Guys, I don't know if you've heard, but Julian Aude is back, a return to play. He's on the field this week, so El Argentino ya va a regresar. He's team training next week, so he's close, guys. Not available against St. Louis, but Greg is hoping he's ready after the break. And Martin is kind of like a weird one, Ananda, because Martin has doesn't really have like a serious injury per se, but he's just kind of like being managed. He's just kind of like this niggling injury that like we're not really sure what it is, but he's not in full training. He's not expected to play versus St. Louis. And then of course, Mo, you guys are hit, man. You guys are hit.
We look like an ER still, even though most of them are back.
Yeah, who's your biggest miss?
Rasmus Alms, I think he's the biggest missed on that part. And he's one of those players that does not get as much recognition on, you know, how his play affects when he's in the midfield.
I like Alm.
Yeah. And that's where you see last season when he was playing, that's where, you know, Klaus and our forward had a lot more freedom to move forward and then have to track back to do the, you know, to carry the ball back up. So I think he's the one that is like the unsung hero that in St. Louis, he gets a lot of the praises. And the moment we hear he's injured, everybody's, you know, say our season's over. And I think the other part is Celio. When he broke that leg, he was literally on fire while playing. He's I think our best dribbler. And, you know, he was on the right side. He was terrorizing anyone. So I'll say it's Alms and then Celio, but of course Klaus is the big man that we're all missing. But these injuries coming in and out is not a good look.
Yeah, we've been there before, Mo.
Yeah, again, it looks like you guys are the Galaxy from last year. Injuries, reported beefs in the locker room. You know, like just an inability to keep guys healthy, just bad luck all over the place. I mean, again, what a difference a year makes. But like Mo says, Celio Pompa had 3 goals and 3 assists in 17 matches. Big miss for St. Louis in this match. Klaus, 19 matches, 5 goals, 2 assists. Rasmus Alm, 1 goal, 2 assists in 12 matches. Joachim Nielsen, the center back, has 15 matches under his belt, will be a miss as well. Thomas Ostrak, 12 matches, will be a miss as well. So you guys better clear up space in that ER for all these boys, man, because it's getting ugly over there. But let's look at these starting lineups. Yeah, is it getting better?
Yes, and a lot of those names like Clouds and Arms are questionable. It's not a complete out. And from I saw just today, Clouds was actually in full training, and so I think they're more like cautious to bring him in.
Gotcha. So we could be seeing players like Klaus and Nielsen.
Probably not Nielsen. I think he's the one that's probably a more fragile, I guess we'll call him. Because he had that crazy injury last year and then just come back. And I will probably see Clouds might be the closest one to see, depending on how Betcher does. Because Betcher is on fire now. I don't see no reason why they should just rush Klaus back in as long as he's scoring.
Well, we're looking at the starting lineup here in your last match against Portland. You mentioned Betcher as the starting striker here. Does this look pretty spot on for you for where what St. Louis might do for the starting 11 against the Galaxy? That's Betcher, Hardell, Tuchert, Thornton, Lowen, Durkin, Reed, Hybert, Kessler, Totlin, and of course Roman Berkey, who fantastic game against the Galaxy last match.
I think we might see Horn play in defense. And I think after that might be close enough.
Yeah, well,
it's City, my friend. If you look at our lineups, you cannot see the pattern of who's going to be playing at this moment.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard to put together a team when people are in and out, like getting that consistency. Again, Galaxy went through that last year. We get it. So the Galaxy have a couple of misses that we've already told you about, guys. But the big one, non-injury, is Ricky Puig. Ananda, what do you think Greg's going to do with the starting lineup here? Might we see Diego at the 10? Might we see Marco Royce starting but not going a full 90? Might we see a midfield of Gaston, Mark, and Edwin, and Gaston starting? What do you think is going on?
Could be all of the above, but I want to ask Chat, what do you think? Who's going to replace Ricky in that midfield? You've got some options, right? You've got Marco, you've got Diego. Yeah, what do you guys think? I'm curious to hear what Chat does. But I think he could do all of the above, man. I think some of it is going to depend on Marco. I mean, for me, obviously, like the immediate replacement would be Marco Royce, but I don't know how he is fitness wise. He might be better off the bench. So then it comes to Diego, right? And then you play sort of Diego in that number 10 position. GCam agrees with me. It's probably Diego.
So
that's probably
who plays the wing?
JP and Gabriel at the wings, and then that's the thing. Like, I don't know if Deion's going to start or
Big Miguel at the 9.
Could be, but again, I don't like him starting. So I mean, if we're gonna have to play JP at the 9, then so be it. And then Diego would be on the left, and then you might see that midfield that you talked about, Rob. Or you might see Marco Royce in there again. I've talked about this before. I said it on 2 pods ago. I love this LA Galaxy team because no longer are we thinking about the starting 11. We're thinking about the team, Rob.
The team, right.
I don't care what the starting 11 is. It's what is the team? Who's actually, more importantly, who's going to finish off the games, right? You saw Marco Royce come off the bench and instantly change the game last game. So that's for me the worry. Like, I think the conversation now as Galaxy fans should be like, who's starting? No, it should be who's actually finishing the game, but who is, like, we should be thinking about this team now as a whole, because we're in abundance of riches right now, especially in that attacking area. So it'll be interesting, man, to see what Greg does, though, for sure.
Well, we can only guess, but what we do know is these stats that are going to inform who's going to win this game. Hit us up, baby. Give us those stats.
Yeah, let me pull those bad boys up. Okay, so
Where's
for the
Royce?
audio
Royce.
listeners, I'm going to narrate this. But yeah, I was gonna pull up what the chat was saying. So Raul saying hope it's Diego and Scott Rolls Royce. I mean, again, those are all good options. It's just gonna be interesting where Greg puts them, and that's what he gets paid the big bucks, right? So when I was pulling up the stats, Rob, I just want to point out a couple things. And I don't know if this has changed because, again, we've got to look at this. This is an aggregate sort of statistics from the entire season. And of course, we've had a new coach on St. Louis ever since July 1st. So these stats may be a little bit different from a trends perspective, but want to point out a couple interesting things. One is I remember St. Louis being a very, very high-powered offense last year, but at least for the underlying stats are telling me not as much this year, right? Look at the expected goals. They're sort of middle of the pack. Shots on target per match, in the middle third again. So whereas the Galaxy, we know we're a very, very potent offense, and that continues to be. Here's the other thing, Rob, and I don't know, again, this is a style of play thing that I'm interested to see what Mo thinks about this in terms of if it's changed. You see that we're about possession. Oh, like 530 accurate passes per match. That's we're trying to kill the game by a million passes, right? Or whatever Greg says. On the flip side, though, it looks like St. Louis likes to concede possession. And don't let that accurate passes per match stat fool you guys. They're probably a team that likes to concede possession because they like to hit you on the break, like to hit you on the counter on the transition moments, right? So don't let that stat fool you, but that's more of like an indicator of how both teams play. So when you see the match unfold, it's going to be a battle of wills. St. Louis likes us conceding possession, but we like to control it. And it's going to be the battle of those two playing styles. It's going to be really interesting. On the defensive side, St. Louis is like us this year. And again, it's kind of surprisingly for me, from an underlying stats perspective, their XG conceded is third worst in the league at 45. I mean, we're not that far behind, but this is the thing that we've got to watch out for defensively, Rob. And I think this is a good dress rehearsal now for LAFC. I talked about this before. Look at those successful tackles.
I see it.
And possession one, final third per match. They are an aggressive teams. They like to get stuck in. They win a high percentage of tackles. You see it there, 10.7 successful tackles per match. 5.5 possessions won in the final third per match. So they like to win the ball high, right? You remember, guys, on that last in the game that we played in, was that May? I can't remember what game. The one at the Digs, right? The reverse fixture. Yeah, it was early in the season. Remember, one of our goals that we gave up was a Ricky Puig giveaway in our own half because they press us and they got us, right? And so that I think this is going to be a good for us. Like I'm kind of seeing this as a dress rehearsal for LAFC because LAFC plays a very similar style of sort of high octane, high pressure, win the ball back high, put in a lot of challenges and win the ball back in, especially in that middle and final third, right? So it's going to be interesting, man. And it's going to be, like I said, the battle of two playing styles. That's going to be a really interesting, like to see like how that unfolds. And this is going to be away. So that's another thing to think about. Crowd's going to be up for it for sure. Like most talking about, I think the vibe amongst the fans is probably a little better. They're on a little bit of an uptick. So that'll be interesting.
Oh, we're going to pack the house.
Yeah, there you go.
That's all we're talking here in St. Louis.
You heard it here first.
Yes,
yeah.
after the Leagues Cup and the whole boycott, like everybody in St. Louis is like this. The MLS is back. There's the you guys have not seen what City Park looks like when it's 100% full.
Ooh,
and they all look. These guys were literally at practice. They were talking. They were like, "We cannot wait to see a full packed house." That's like the first thing they were saying.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad to hear that. Greg's talked about the atmosphere a couple times this season and how there's not a lot of chances to replicate like a playoff situation or like an atmosphere or a hostile atmosphere like that, like you might face in the playoffs. So I like the fact that it's going to be packed, it's going to be loud, it's going to be hostile because they can replicate those situations. Like Ananda said, on the field, they can replicate against a high pressing team. I did see that stat, and that St. Louis is one of the teams that wins the ball back in the final third the most. And then in the vibes, in the atmosphere, it's going to be very much like a hostile crowd. Like it's going to be full. It's going to be heated, and it's very much going to be. I expect to hear a couple of BLAs at some point for sure, because that's the thing du jour.
So I know.
We tried not to.
So man, you guys heard it here first. I know a couple of you guys. I know Rufio in the chat. I think you're going to St. Louis. I know a couple of you folks are going to St. Louis. So expect a very awesome atmosphere out there for sure. So you'll be treated to that. That'll be nice. That'll be a nice trip.
When I get to St. Louis, I want to sit in the doggy section, the one where like pet owners.
You're not even gonna watch the game. You just want to be with the dogs.
Yeah, I'll watch the game, but I'm gonna take everyone's dog and cuddle them for sure.
Hey, you get your own entrance.
Oh, that is awesome.
You got there's an entrance straight from like the back of the stadium. You go straight down the line. You now the regular folks. But any LA fans, if you guys coming, just tell them Mo, and you'll be taken care of.
Nice. Well, you guys heard it here first. Yes. Let them know Mo, and you guys will be taken care of. The one and only Rocio has confirmed she will be in St. Louis. To all you G's that are going to be out there, have fun, be safe, and make a lot of good memories and come back with 3. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know about all that.
Well, you know what? I'm going to pass this scouting report on to Greg Vanny later. But who are the danger men for St. Louis?
Well, you just said you're going to give him the report. It's kind of will take the whole purpose of it. But
okay. Well, I won't then. I promise.
Yeah, sure. So I think the biggest thing that I want to see now is that Leuven literally has now 3 of his closest friends at City. Because if you watch these guys, they've either played together in club team or they played together in the youth German national team. So that's why now you're starting to see him not having to do too much of having to come back and try to dribble and then have to do the creative passes and then try to score at the same time. Now his role is more of the 10. He's just, passing the ball along. The other guys do the hard work. You get him a foul. You get him a free kick, and we all know what happens when you give him too many of those opportunities. So I think he will be the trio on there that you guys will have to watch for, because you blink and that might be the end of the and I think I'm just curious to see how Paint Steel is able to manage, I guess, speed wise, because he literally killed us last game until we had Dewar, which maybe kind of subdued him a little bit, and then Josh Yarrow had to come in and also match his speed. So it's funny when it's 2 Ghanaian players, one that's a forward, one that's a defender, and they're both fast. So that kind of made it fun. But now we have another German on your guys' side, which now he has literally his best friend in goal on the other side. So I think it's be one of those games where it's going to be very interesting to see how it will end up, because a lot of them knows each other so well.
Yeah.
And somebody has to break the tie.
It's going to be a fun watch for sure.
Someone has to break the tie. Or City has to break the tie. Let's rephrase it.
Well, it would be crazy if it just ended in a tie again, because that would be the 4th match between the subs that ended in a tie, and it would mean that no one has ever won a game between them 2. But Mo mentioned Eddie Lowen as being one of the danger men. One of the new boys, Marcel Hartel, has 3 assists in his debut. So obviously, he's already proved his worth to the team just in that one match. And then of course for me, sometimes it's not who scores the goals or who provides them, but who prevents them. And for me, Berkey, prevents the Galaxy from getting 3 points in this last match. So for me, the one to watch is Berkey. Ananda, what about for you? Is there anyone that you're particularly going to be watching on St. Louis?
Yeah, I mean, I think. Well, I'm interested to see, like, for example, Hartel for those 3 assists. I mean, I haven't watched. I've only watched highlights, so this is all going to be new for me. But it's always been Lovin, man. It's funny, if you would have asked me last year, I would have said Azil. I would have said even Jaccarini. Remember him? But yeah, it's I think it's Lovin. He's quality, and you see it. He's kind of a tempo setter. It's funny because we're gonna have Marco Royce, who I think is a tempo setter as well for us. But I think he's a tempo setter for you guys, and everything good goes through him. I called Marco Royce last episode, Mo, that he's starting to become the conductor now, and especially in the attacking third. I think that's Lovin for you guys. So yeah, he's a threat for sure.
I just have to say that Berkey, if we didn't have Berkey, St. Louis wouldn't beat St. Louis at this moment, and the first season would not have been the same.
Yeah.
He's just covered our defense way too much. That's why his stats are so stacked, because he's doing way too much for a goalie to begin with.
Yeah.
And I think we all know it's good to have a goalie shouldn't have that good of a stats. From where I stand, I'm like, you shouldn't have to do those crazy Superman stops.
The defense shouldn't force him to make those stops. Yeah. I mean, fortunately, Berkey is in goal. I mean, last year when the Galaxy were forcing tons of shots on Jonathan Bond, he gave up 67 goals. So it's a world in which you have a stellar keeper that'll keep you in games, and that's it's a godsend, really. And like I said, last year stole 3 points from the Galaxy, or in the first match, rather, in March. So yeah, Mo, I'm gonna ask you a question here, and I'm gonna ask chat the same question, but the Galaxy version. Chat, for the Galaxy to win this match, they have to blank. Go ahead and let us know. For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to blank. Mo, for you, it's the St. Louis version. For St. Louis to win this match, they have to ... Fill in the blank.
What do they have to? I don't know. I think this will probably be our defense biggest challenge again. And why I'm saying that is that if you look at our back line now, they're almost all new to each other, and they have not played together just yet. And like Horn, it's back in defense. And if you look at the last game, Portland was able to take advantage of those miscommunications. And I think 2 of those goals were literally lack of communications, because there was 2 players going to 1 player for Portland, and then there was a wide open shot. And that 1 goal, I forget who scored it, that was also that. He was by himself able to do an easy header. So I think it will be just better defending and better communications, and then just let Leuven, Hartel, and I always forget his name, Tuco, to just let them be free and figure out what they can do in the midfield.
So it looks like, Ananda, that Mo is saying that St. Louis needs to have a good defensive match, and it looks like Galaxy fans in chat are saying the same for the Galaxy. The one and only Real CO says step up their defense. Tony Toscano, what up, Big Tony, says defense set pieces. Man, I mean, it's hopefully both these teams step up the defense, and somebody just said that this one's going to be nationally televised. GCam says, I just hope we don't lose on national television. I just hope that both these teams give a good account of each other on national television. It's I don't know if you've heard us use the term trap game, Mo.
I've seen other teams too, also. Other people use it as well. I think for me, outside of like for the neutral, where I always talk about, just the sport in general, what I like to see is when those, big market teams go like the Midwest teams. I want to see it like, even though we want our team to win, but also like a great showcase of that. It does not just take a LAFC versus a LA Galaxy or a Portland versus Seattle to have a amazing game on national television. because then after that, the whole league gets to win. And that draw that we had with you guys in LA was like the perfect example because in St.
Yep.
Louis, after that game, they were like, "Did you see St. Louis came back against LA Galaxy?" It was like that was one of those staples conversations that we were having versus your other, I guess we'll call them noisy
Yeah.
neighbors. They just came in like massacred us at home.
Yeah.
So I kind of like to have that nice win, but also a nice display of you don't have to go to the LA and New York to have a good game.
So you just want to see a good game of football.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, Mo. I'm in like cutthroat mode. Like I want the Galaxy to sew up that first place in the West, or do I mean
Fair.
LAFC has games in hand, so they can only do what they do, and the Galaxy, all they need to do is keep winning. That's all they can affect. So I just want them to be cutthroat. I've spoken about this on the pod a couple times. Them handling business when they need to handle business on paper anyway. They should have enough to win this game, and that's why some people in the chat have brought up this concept that we talk about of a trap game, because everything is pointing or should point to a Galaxy win, but this is where usually the Galaxy kind of falters. Ananda, do we have anything in the betting odds that tell us what people are thinking on this? But bet responsibly.
Yeah, and before I do this, so chat, start putting. We're gonna start wrapping this up. So start putting those predictions. Prediction time, guys. You know how it goes. So start putting in those predictions.
And Mo, we're gonna get at you here in a moment too. So start thinking about your prediction.
All right, guys. So here's the betting odds that I flashed on the screen. So LA Galaxy at -145. And I put the Atlanta one on there. So never mind. Don't worry about the top. That's a user error there. So the odds on the bottom: +40 for St. Louis, +175 for LA Galaxy. So that's 42% chance for the home team and a 36% chance for the away team. Pretty close, Robert. They're giving us a pretty. That's actually really good odds from an LA Galaxy perspective. So yeah, very interesting. The bookies are saying this is going to be a fairly even match, and they're giving decent odds for both. I think that would make it like a 20, maybe less than 20% chance for a draw. But the last three games say that it's going to be what did you say, 3-3 draw or 4-4 draw, something like that. So there you go.
I don't want to see another.
Yeah,
4-4.
I mean statistics. Statistics say it's going to be 4-4 because the first game was 1-1, second game was 2-2, third game was 3-3. Yeah. Exactly. So if math is a truth teller, then it'll be 4-4. Mo, before we get to your prediction, and chat, keep them coming. I know that you told us that you'll be in the press box for this match. Do you have anything planned for this one? Or are you going to be spending some time with the fans out there in the tailgate? How are you planning to spend this day, which you said is going to be packed?
Oh, yes. So for St. Louis, and for those of you that go and travel to St. Louis, yes, it's a huge party. They have what they call the Lufius Plaza right in front of the stadium. It's big party, held by the team. But if you go and look to the right side of you, there's the St. Louisans, the one that are making all the sound, the music. They have their own spot where they have, beers, burgers, and all that food. But also the best, I guess one of the highlight of my day is the Estel Santos, which is the Paradigm restaurants right next to it, where you have Super Santo and, tacos and carnadas. That's the place I go to before every game.
Ooh, so you go, got your grub on, man.
Yeah,
there you go, guys.
We'll have to take pictures and send it to you guys. But if you see Super Santo somewhere, just holler at him. And after the game, no matter what the score is, go behind the supporter section. And that's where the Super Santos just have a huge party for probably 20 minutes. All chants, music, drums, dancing, all in there. So they're super nice, no matter what the score is. At the end, it's just to enjoy the sport. So you travel there, go watch the St. Louisans first, and then STL Santos, and at the end, go party with them. That's
y'all
what
heard
the
Mo.
experience is.
Y'all heard Mo show up, pop up, and say Mo sent me. We're Mo certified. So but also be on your best behavior. So you don't burn the spot. So LA Galaxy fans,
They're
keep on.
watching.
Yeah, we are watching. LA Galaxy fans, keep putting those predictions in there. But now it's time, Mo. We're putting you on the spot. What do you think this match is going to end up at? The last one was a 3-3 tie. You're hoping for a 4-4, but what do you think it's going to be?
I'll probably say, based on the last score, 2-1 St. Louis, and that's the St. Louis fan. But
That's a heart pick.
Yes,
The heart, yeah.
and I'll probably, the press box guy will say 1-1.
Okay. Your
That's fair.
heart pick is 2-1.
We call it heart and head pick. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Head pick is 1-1. I'll draw a draw for the
Unfortunately,
teams. No winners yet again. Well, Ananda, let's see what the chat has to say before we throw ours out there. Scott W says 2-2. The ties roll on. Thank you so much, Scott, for dropping that one in there. G Cam, Galaxy 2-1 heart pick, had a pick 2-2, just like Mo saying, but in reverse. One of Real CEO says Galaxy win 2-1 from your lips to God's ears. Tony Toscano also calling a draw, says 2-2. Ramizes says con Santo Royce 2-1. So he's calling a 2-1. Ananda, I went first last time, so it's on you, man.
What? No.
Yeah.
Remember, I called it 2-0 against Atlanta, and I was right. So
I don't know.
You go first. Yep.
Oh,
I don't know, chat. Fact check us on that one.
I'm pretty sure I went first. But anyways, you go.
Oh, okay. I'll be a nice guy,
We'll pull up the
and I'll
tape.
go. Yeah, run the tape. Pull up the transcripts. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm calling a 2-1 as well, but in reverse. I'm calling it for the Galaxy. I just think, like you said, St. Louis's defense is nuevito, which means new, and they don't have the time in together yet to withstand the offensive pressure. I mean, there's just a lot of offensive weapons on the Galaxy, and I mean, now with Marco Royce just dictating, like, dude looked like Doctor Strange when he had like the time stone, man. He just like made the game stand still, and people around him like were buzzing about, and he was like, nah, chill. So I think that quality, whether it's his or whether it's Gabriel Pecchi, or you mentioned Joseph Painso with the speed, something's going to break, and the individual quality is going to break the Galaxy's way, and it's going to end up 2-1. So heart and head, 2-1 Galaxy. Anandita?
Emphatic. I'm actually going to go for a higher scoring 3-2, Rob. A couple reasons for this. One is we're on the road, and I know we've had a week off, but it's just these road games. You know, I feel like if I think about it, our road games this year and our road performances, they haven't been as convincing, and we've had to score more goals, and our attack had to be on point. So that's one thing I'm thinking of. Another thing I'm thinking of is, Mo, I watched your guys' highlights last week, and I feel like you scored maybe 2 or 3 set piece goals, and that worries me. If you didn't know, the Galaxy are horrible at set piece defending. We've given up, I believe, the most or second most goals off of set pieces this year. So that worries me. And I saw you guys had some really, really nice set piece routines, especially that one at the top of the 18. That worries me. So that's another reason why I think it's going to be a high scoring game. But I think we're just going to pull it out just based on sheer quality, man. I think Royce is going to come out from the. I think it's going to look like a trap game, Rob. I think St. Louis is going to score first, to be fair. But again, I think the quality off the bench, I think that's going to sort of give us the edge over the 90 minutes. And I think Royce's introduction, I think in the second half, because I'm predicting that he's going to be off the bench. I think that's just going to propel us to. I mean, we might be down 2-1 and win 3-2. Again, this guy is. I just watching him live last week was a treat, and I said it last week.
Thanks
Mo.
for rubbing it in, man.
He was I mean, I'm just throwing strays at you all day, every day. But I mean, watching him last week, Mo, was an absolute treat. I called him sort of the conductor, the orchestrator. He sort of slows time down, and he knows when to pick that pass. He knows he finds his little half spaces, man. It's insane just watching him last week. So Mo, if I know you're on the other side, but you're gonna have a treat watching Marco when he steps on the pitch. It's just watching football brilliance on display, I think. But yeah, 3-2 for me. Head and heart for sure.
Well, GCam said that this one's going to end up with Raquinho free kick in the 90th wins it for the Galaxy. I agree. Raquinho the GOAT. Yeah, man. Well, I'm calling a 2-1 and I'm just calling a 3-2. And our good friend Mo is calling a 2-1 in favor of St. Louis. And then his head pick is a 1-1 tie.
Yeah, but a quick heads up though. St. Louis is blazing hot at this moment. We're not talking, we're talking humid, like 110, and so bad that and I coach youth soccer. Literally we had to cancel practice on Monday, cancel practice on Wednesday, and the others literally, I think we're a big soccer town, so all soccer field typically Monday to Sunday it's completely filled. These past 4 days empty, because it was literally not allowed to have kids playing. The players was the same thing, small spurts. Training was like high intensity, but not as much, because it just takes a little bit and then you're just dizzy. And so hopefully LA guys are ready. It's going to be hot, but that's the Midwest hot where, they tell you it's 90, but you go outside and it feels like it's 140.
Ooh, it's that New Orleans humid. It's that. Ooh,
and then I changed my prediction. I changed my prediction. 3-0 St. Louis. Because the last time we were in that hot, humid Dallas weather, we lost 2-0. So
it's
man,
bad.
That's
it's bad.
Well, is that a closed
good insight
stadium,
though?
Or is that
good
an
insight.
open stadium right there?
I'm sorry.
Is that a closed domed stadium or an open stadium? He shook his head like, nah, son. Like,
no.
Well, I changed my prediction too. Oh no! I didn't know.
You guys don't check the weather?
No, I didn't check the weather. I did not like.
Well, I saw 82 degrees, and I'm like, oh, that's like California right now. But then I read, but then it's like 75% humidity. So there you go.
Oh, that's dirt McGirt right there. That's not fun at all.
Now you see why I go in the press box for that game, right?
Yeah, man. I soaking up that air conditioning. Dang. Well, yes, I changed my prediction. It's all over with the Romans burning.
Trap game for sure. Yeah.
Trap game. What you gonna do?
Well, no. There you go.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope Ananda's wrong, and it ends up with a Galaxy win. I'm sorry, Mo. I just we need that. We need that first place. Let you guys got it last year. Let us have it this year. The Galaxy need to wrap that up. They need to get that home field advantage for the playoffs. Then Greg spoke about it in the presser. I asked him about his best point total, and he said that what it's going to allow them to do is position themselves to get that first place in the West, where they can get those fans behind them. So hopefully that happens. I know that St. Louis is going to have an incredible atmosphere and the fans behind them on Sunday. Is there anything else we need to know about St. Louis before we get on out of here?
No, we're the friendliest people. We might sound a little crazy when during the game, but in and out, the coolest people. So if you have scarf, there will be probably a dozen of people looking to trade scarves. And
nice.
I moved to St. Louis, so for me it's still trying to discover the area, but it's a huge soccer town. I think if I say 95% of people know about soccer, it's not an exaggeration. So just enjoy it. It's a very welcoming place.
Nice.
And
Well, Rocio says, say a little prayer for me. I believe she's speaking about the Heat, but we know you're going to have a great time.
Yep.
Mo, let the folks know where they can find you on the socials, and then we're going to get on out of here.
Yep. I think every social is Mo Football, MOFUTBOL. And I think you probably will see me a little bit more doing high school soccer nationally, which our Champions League is going in September in St. Louis. And so it will be coming to a town near you very soon.
Way cool. Yeah, I did hear about that. That St. Louis was organizing like the first Champions League for high schools. So yeah, that's
So Tampa had one already. It's called
okay.
Top 10. So they started in Tampa, and their final was actually at AI Lang Stadium for the Tampa Rowdies. So that's where the Tampa folks do it. So now St. Louis is next, and Texas there's I think somewhere in Texas that will be next. Kansas is talking about it. So it will be in every state before you know it.
I can't wait, man. I'm going to be watching a little bit of university soccer this weekend. My little cousin's going to be coming through and playing here in California. So I got a chance to see him. He's out actually in New Hampshire. So yeah, so he'll be in California this weekend. So guys, support youth soccer, support local soccer. If you're going to be out at the game, like Mo said, everyone's super friendly out there. Sharing the good times. And on to anything else to add before we bounce.
No, man. Only Gary says, "Okay, Raquinho nuestro que estás en el cielo." So there you go. We'll leave it at that, and let's sign the people off, Rob.
Yeah, guys, coming up, of course, we will have a St. Louis reaction. No matter what happens, win or loss, we will bring that to you on Monday, September 2nd at 9 p.m. After this match, the Galaxy have a 2-week break, and then it's a big El Tráfico match at the Digs against LAFC on September 14th. Of course, we will bring you our preview for that a couple days before on Thursday, September 12th. And I said it at the top of the show, but please show some love to the Profe Alex RUIZ and Anandita Kirana and their second episode of Los GATACTICOS that profiles Marco Royce. Guys, only one thing left to say besides we love you. Thank you so much for being in chat. And thank you to our special guest, Mo Football, for staying up with us once again. And have a fun time on Sunday. Hopefully you meet some Galaxy fans. And Galaxy fans, hopefully you have a lovely Sunday and the Galaxy get 3 points for y'all. One thing left to say now for sure. Jesus!